Hi, everyone. Thank you for returning to our discussion on Trading Places Part 2. This is Dr. Tracy McCarthy. We're going to be continuing to address the Ottoman/Roman Empire conquest of the original people of what is now known as the Americas. For this portion of our discussion, we're going to be looking at the topic of crown of control or head games. For those of you who are familiar with colonization, you know that colonization is essentially a mind game. It involves the control of cultural dynamics. And so we're talking about language, customs, religion, and dress. And in many instances, with respect to the Ottoman/Roman Empire, headdress was very important in terms of identifying individuals who had been colonized or who had an allegiance to the imperial authority. What you see on the screen now are individuals who have been historically identified as representing the original people of the Americas. However, when you look very closely, you will see that the headdresses that are worn are headdresses that come from another part of the world. And so what you see are indications of head wraps or turbans. You also see the headband, and you also see a variation of a fez. Now we're going to read an excerpt related to these Native American turbans. It indicates facts and information about the history of clothing, headwear, and regalia, including Native American turbans. Native American Indians are most closely associated with feathered headdresses and war bonnets. However, many famous tribes, such as the Yuchi, Natchez, Seminole, Creek, and Shawnee, wore a cloth turban. This style of headwear became popular during the 1800s as trade cloth became easily available. At this time, tribes acquired many cloths of European manufacture. Symbolic plumes were added, which stamped the culture and identity of Native Americans to the turbans. Prior to this time, fur turbans were worn for practical reasons to keep out the cold by northern tribes such as the Mohawk, Chippewa, and Pawnee. Now we're going to look at some additional excerpts related to the turban and the Native Americans or American Indians. It indicates that a turban is a traditional headdress consisting of a long scarf, sash, or shawl wrapped around the head and sometimes hanging down the neck. Additionally, the turban is most associated with countries of the Far East and also North Africa, the Middle East, and Asian countries. Furthermore, it indicates that Europeans adopted this style of headwear from 1650 through 1750, when elaborate wigs were in fashion. Men of this era shaved their heads or cropped their hair, and some alternative style of headwear was useful when the wigs were off. Finally, the turban as a European fashion coincided with the colonization of North America, when native Indian tribes came into close contact with the colonists. We are now going to look at some additional samples of the Ottoman/Roman Empire headdress that was a part of the colonization of the Americas. And here you see examples of turbans worn by individuals who have been identified as American Indian or Native American. Here you see additional examples of the Ottoman/Roman Empire colonization headdress. And here you see examples of both the turban and the fez. The one on the left-hand side, of course, is a more familiar picture. These are two additional depictions of the Ottoman/Roman Empire headdress. You can see one fez on the left-hand side and another type on the right-hand side. And these are two additional depictions of the fez and feathers. This particular depiction is presented as an emblem of America, and you see a female here with the turban on. As you recall, the west coast of Africa from the north to the south was also colonized essentially by the same people. And so this is the Ottoman slash Roman Empire colonization headdress. We've talked about this red headdress before, and this can be easily understood as the Ankara in Africa. So, in other words, the Turkish in Africa. The fez and turban are not organic to the original people of the Americas or to the original people on the west coast of Africa. These are parts of colonization. And in this discussion, it indicates that this red hat or the fez, this was to denote the mark the Ottoman Empire made on Russian history with its famous red Turkish cap. While some call it the fez, it's technically known as the Roman headdress. And so this roomy headdress was a sign of aristocracy and nobility for both the Ottoman Empire and the Roman Empire. And at one point, they are one and the same. It's also noted with respect to the Ottoman Empire that the men often wore very elaborate turbans, extremely high turbans with significant volume. It's not clear, however, what was under the turban. But when you look at the hair of the Caucasian women on the screen, it's possible that the male counterparts had similar hair. As a matter of fact, it's highly likely that they had similar hair. However, it would have been hidden under the turban.